Hi guys, this is video number 4 of this journal here. And the first 3 flips I will link below if you haven't seen them yet. I highly recommend it. Maybe I'm a little biased, but oh well. So this was a guy. It was really cute. He was a homeless man outside a grocery store near us. And my boyfriend wants to take him grocery shopping because he thought he looked like Salvador Dali. And so we took him grocery shopping and we got him some food and stuff. Which was nice. We had a really nice talk with him. It was really a fun experience. And I thought it was really nice of my boyfriend. And what else here? This was this girl in our class. So I don't know how to pronounce this, but Angelus Novus, aka New Angel, is this painting by Paul Klee. It has a really interesting background. We're learning about it in class, about history and what change really is, and what is progress really progress. It's really interesting. So this girl next to me was taking a picture of it during the break in class. And I thought, oh great, like someone else had thought it was interesting. It's really cool, right? So I'm like, oh, like I see you're taking a picture of it. And she's like, yeah, I just want to send it to my friends because that's what we look like when we were drunk during Frosh Week. And then I was like, oh yeah, too much hope. Oh well. And then, I don't know why James and I were thinking of this, but if there was another weird concept, if there was a Halloween run, that you could make a comment costume and put streamers. When you run, it looks like you're flying, which is kind of cool. This is a really cool drawing. Wow, I liked it, the way it kind of flows like that. And then this was a rant. Long rant. This was a really funny mat I saw for sale. I didn't actually buy it, but it was for sale in, I don't know, a little boutique. And it says nice panties, because, I mean, you can kind of look up a skirt, I guess. Like, I don't know how to, you either get it or you don't. But it's a mat, so when you look down it says nice panties. It's kind of cute. And then questions we talked about in philosophy. How much power do we have in a big democracy? How many people should be in charge in a government? So that's really cool. And then we learned that in ancient Greece they had up to 500 people in the jury. So I think that's a lot different than today, right? And then New York has free cotton candy on Wednesdays, which is real exciting for me. And then this is a drawing I did of a peacock in an estate sale that found peacock feathers for sale, and he's pissed. This is when I got an A on a project, and I was really excited. Yeah, that's a good page. This is what I was drawing to compare like body types, that like if you eat too much of a good thing you can be overweight. So if you eat too much healthy food, just overeating healthy food, you can even gain weight. But even some people that eat, like sugar and caffeine and everything, they're really skinny. But I guess that's what they call skinny fat. So I was just, exploring that. And I thought this was cool. What if you could embed a video and a sticker? And then I didn't know that when Socrates said an unexamined life is not worth living, is he said this while he was on trial for corrupting youth, and like instead of like defending himself and saying, oh yeah, I was wrong to like spout all this philosophy, he said an unexamined life is not worth living. It continued spouting that corrupting philosophy, and because of that he was sentenced to death. It's like, wow, that's a cool story behind that quote. And then this is funny about that you always see unfit people critiquing sports, like that they could never, like, oh, he screwed up that shot. And it's like, well, you couldn't even like pick up that ball hardly. Like, I always think it's funny. This is when we saw a perfect circle. And the funny thing was, I wanted to get the tickets on will call just so I could glue them in here. So we had to go like 20 minutes early just to pick them up because I wanted to glue them in. James was a really good sport. And then I thought James said, because we saw this dog sniffing garbage cans, and I was like, why are there dogs sniffing the garbage cans? And James said, oh, I thought he said they're bong sniffing dogs. And I'm like, why are they sniffing the garbage cans for bongs? But he meant bombs. And I was... This is everyone that we went to the concert with. And then this I wrote a perfect circle, Tool, Pussifer, which are all the bands with Maynard in it. We like all of them, especially like Pussifer. It's a really nice email that a previous teacher wrote me. This was talking about this messed up book called Daisy Head Maisie that my mom read to me as a kid, of this girl that had like flowers growing out of her head that she couldn't pluck out, and it was just so gross. And then I thought, what if Easter lilies were called that because the guy was selling them and no one would buy them, and then so he's like, oh, well, they're made specially for Easter, and then everyone started buying them. Like a marketing gimmick. This was our prof in class, and he said that he watches 300 to 400 movies a year, and that he likes to watch them alone, so people don't spoil it by talking. I thought that he would have a hard time finding a girlfriend if that was the case. These were some more notes that I took in school. Tons of notes. And then this was a dream that I had where I was able to be lucid again. Another nightmare that I was in this mansion and it was becoming haunted and I was getting scared. And I was like, why don't I just leave the house? Like, I became lucid and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna walk to this really pretty park and I was singing and praising God, and all of a sudden these like government agencies were coming after me and like chasing me in these cars. I'm like, why don't I just throw eggs at them and they'll be mad? And they were like surrendering to me, and I was like, oh, it's cool to be lucid in my nightmares. So it's really cool. This was a rough schedule of what I needed to do. So I literally wrote 40 pages in the last 2 or 3 weeks of that semester. It was a lot. And then this was an interesting story. So we have a large Aboriginal community, and this lady in my class said that the Canadian government had hired her to teach weaving to the Aboriginals on their reserve. And so her mom, who she called the most whitewashed family that you've ever met, like her whole family, went to teach this supposedly historic weaving to these Aboriginals. But what the government didn't know, and what her mom didn't know at the time before they went, is that they didn't even weave in that tribe, in that location at all. Like, it wasn't in their heritage. So they're just like, oh, well, you can stay though and teach us so we have something to do, but this isn't our culture. Like, you know, they were hired to teach them their culture, preserve their culture, and it wasn't even right. So the poor Aboriginals always are on the losing end. And then this was a weird thought. I said, ghosts are just fat people who fell through the clouds of heaven because they were too fat to stay on top of the clouds. That's why the Bible says not to be a glutton. So that was kind of funny. This was a guy called Churdleys, and I think his videos are really funny. And I thought this was funny that in Shakespearean time, if you were under 21, you were considered a minor. I mean, now it's kind of 18, so it's interesting. This was our Prof Nadaf, which he has a lot of mixed reviews, but I really liked him. He was an excellent teacher, and he was really open to speaking after class further about philosophy, so that's really cool. He was really encouraging. Probably my favorite philosophy teacher. I like this quote from Breaking Bad: you either run from things or accept them. There's a similar quote in Christianity that it's either from God or from the devil, or like there's no like neutral choices. By not making a choice, you're making a choice by not doing anything. So I think all that stuff is really interesting. This was a stand-up show that James and I went to at the Comedy Bar. This was a cool thought, a cool drawing. It was in a really reflective mood. And then I had a dream about a giant eagle that night. This was a story that's always fascinated me. Is this giant Staples sign fell on this lady and got killed. It killed her. It's a local stationery store, and I just was talking about how life is so precious and short, and I bet she was thinking about what's for dinner, but you don't really appreciate life, and you don't realize how short it is until I guess something like that happens, right? This was a page I did when we were watching Breaking Bad. I'm really behind, but I just finished it. But I mean, I'm like 10 years too late in watching it. It allowed me to binge watch it though. There's this really bland girl in my class that eats Cheerios. Like, that's kind of ironic, right? Because she's bland and she's eating plain Cheerios for her snack, so meh. This was when we did Romeo and Juliet in my English class that I'm TAing in. And this was some analysis the teacher did. I went to a potluck in my building and it was cool. This lady said, "Oh, I like your flowers. You look like you're from San Francisco." I'm like, "I am. How did you know?" Because I'm in Toronto, so it was kind of cool. It's like, I'm from the Bay Area. It was really neat. And this is just wondering what if Shakespeare saw his popularity in today's society, would he be surprised? And I wonder how many other people who were popular or unpopular throughout history expected to be immortalized. Like, I'm sure there's many people that were popular in some era, and probably in every era, that didn't really make it to today's society, the majority at least. This is when I got a harness for a sled for Kobe. I wanted to teach him to pull a sled, but he hated it, so I just kind of gave up. And then I decided I wanted to do yoga every morning, but it never really happened. And then this was when, this is interesting, the best way to reflect on life is to reflect on death. If your goals in life are material, it won't make a lasting impression on people's hearts after death. It's hard to make a difference in the world by being kind and making money. And then this was my yoga studio I made. So I'm gonna let you guys go. I turned our den into a yoga art studio, which is what I'm in now. So I'll let you guys go. I will have the next video up soon, and hopefully we'll finish this book on the next video or two. See you guys.